Morning, everyone.
Morning.
The meeting of the Rhode Island Ethics Commission for Tuesday, December 2023 will come to order. The first order of business is a motion to approve the minutes of the open session held on November 14th, 2023. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Jones, seconded by Commissioner Susie. Roll call. Commissioner Strauss,
Abstain.
Commissioner Centarini,
Abstain.
Commissioner Susie,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, the next item is director's report.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'll just note that we're live streaming the meeting again. The agenda and the meeting materials are posted on our website, so anyone is free to access them there. The live stream will continue through the open session, and then we will turn off the stream during closed session, and we'll reopen the meeting when we return. So with that out of the way, complaints and investigations, we have 10 total complaints pending. Right now, we had a couple that were filed since the last meeting. And those two will be on for executive session for an initial determination today. All the other ones are currently under investigation, so that means they're pre-probable cause, which again, as we're kind of looking at our calendars, it means there are going to be a lot of probable cause hearings coming up in maybe February timeframe, right around there, probably January, February, March. Speaking of that, well, I'll get to the schedule when I get to administration and all this updates. Advisory opinions, we have 5 pending right now. 3 of those are on today's agenda. So doing a great job keeping those down to a manageable number. As far as Access to Public Records Act requests, we have had 5 since the last meeting. We fulfilled all of them within 1 business day, as we always try to do. 1 related to financial disclosure, 2 related to recusals, and 2 related to advisory opinions. Not much to say on financial disclosure. We're preparing for the 2023 filing year. So the last ones that all of you filed were the 2022s. You're going to file, you and 4,500 other people are going to file your 23s by the last Friday of April, which this year I think is April 26th. At least that's what I wrote down, so let's go with that. You'll get, we're gonna open up online filing on January 2nd. So that's the first business day after the new year. So anyone is free to file their 2023 at that point. But if you haven't filed it by March, then you'll get the letter from us with the blue letter that has your filing credentials and the instructions and all of that. So again, that'll go out in March. Deadline is in April. Administration and office updates. The first one is some great news that we have. We have hired a new employee at the Ethics Commission to replace Tara, who was our administrative assistant who left us about 2 months ago. And she's here today. Just want to say hello to Sabrina Lupino in the back. Stand up.
Nice, Sabrina.
So Sabrina is joining us from a law firm. She came from Chisholm and Kilpatrick. Pretty nice firm here in Providence. She was there for 5 years, at first as an administrative assistant and then as a training coordinator and finally as one of the supervisors of the administrative assistants. So she comes to us with some really great experience and we're super excited to have her and to be fully staffed up again.
Excellent, welcome.
Just in time for financial disclosure season. So it's good news for me. Next, in all of your packets is the tentative meeting schedule. This is also up on our website now, so if you lost it or don't have it. Again, it's just a tentative schedule for all of 2024. Of course, what I recommend is that everyone, those of you that keep a calendar, if you could add it to your calendars. I will offer for anyone who has an electronic calendar and wants our office to send invitations. But I warn you, Outlook does not have a way to send one request for you to accept all of the dates. So we're happy to send the invitations, but you're going to get 16 separate invitations for each of these dates that you can then accept or decline. So before you leave here, well, actually, just maybe a show. Does anyone not want me to send that? Or does any,
I'm all set.
you don't need it? Or does it?
I like it.
Would everyone else like to know?
Yeah.
No, as you
Okay.
said.
Okay, so got it. So we know what to do. That'll go out in the next couple of days. Assembly. Next, let's see. Oh, our case management system, our recusal case management system is coming along and we expect it to go live before the end of the month. So we're really excited to have that. And then we're gonna move on to our next system, which I think will be advisory opinions. Management system. And also note that our water bottle filling station, which has been out of order for the last 3 months, is working again. So if you bring in your own bottles, feel free to fill up at that station. It's filtered. So that's all I have.
Any questions for Jason? No? Hearing none. Is there a sign-in sheet?
Recording in
Thank you. Okay, the first sign-in is Greg Mancini. Good morning, Mr. Mancini. Councilman.
Good morning, everyone. The draft for Mr. Mancini is at tab C in your binders. The petitioner is the president of the North Kingstown Town Council. He has served continuously in that capacity since his initial election in 2018. The town council is expected to ask the General Assembly to pass legislation authorizing the town council to place one or more bond questions on a ballot that, if approved by the citizens of North Kingstown, could result in the construction of a new public safety complex, a new recreation center, and 1 or 2 new middle schools, or the renovation of at least 1 middle school. If and when the General Assembly passes the requested legislation, the town council would be tasked with assisting bond council with the drafting of the bond questions or the approval of the draft of the bond questions. In his private capacity, Mr. Mancini has been employed since 2000 as the executive director and general counsel for Build RI. Build RI is a trade organization composed of 4 contractor associations and 9 trade unions, which promotes the union construction industry to the public and to private and public construction users. Members of contractor associations and trade unions affiliated with Build RI would likely be among those to work on the construction projects in North Kingstown if approved by the citizens of that town. Mr. Mancini seeks guidance from the Ethics Commission regarding whether the Code of Ethics permits his participation in the following 3 activities. First, the town council's anticipated request of the General Assembly to pass legislation authorizing the placement of 1 or more bond questions on the ballot. Second, the town council's drafting or approval of the bond questions. And third, public advocacy in his private capacity for the passage of any or all of the bond questions related to the potential municipal construction projects. Looking now to the code. The petitioner may not participate in a matter if he has reason to believe or expect that, in this case, his employer, Build RI, would be directly financially impacted, for better or worse, as a result of his official activity. The code also prohibits a public official from using his public office to achieve financial gain for his employer. Here, neither the petitioner's participation in the town council's request of the General Assembly to pass legislation authorizing the town council to place 1 or more questions on a ballot for the citizens, nor the petitioner's participation in the drafting or approval of any ballot question that may result would directly financially impact Build RI. Accordingly, it is the opinion of staff that the petitioner is not prohibited by the Code of Ethics from participating in those activities. It is also the opinion of staff that the Code of Ethics does not prohibit the petitioner from advocating in his private capacity for the passage of any or all bond questions related to the potential construction projects that are the subject of this advisory opinion. I'm happy to answer any questions or to defer to Mr. Mancini as appropriate.
Any questions?
I guess I got, I think that. What's the basis that there's no, code violation is that the nexus isn't close enough, because the citizens still have to enact or vote for the legislation to be enacted, or is, because I do see, it sounds like the bond, if the bond gets on the ballot and the citizens pass it, it seems like Build Our Eyes like a shoe-in to get some of,
Build Our Eyes, Build Our Eyes, it's just a,
Other companies.
right,
it's not in business. It wouldn't, so there's no financial impact to the petitioner.
so Build Our Eyes, so if
A trade
the
association.
construction projects go forward, Build Our Eye doesn't benefit?
That's probably another advisory opinion, waiting or not waiting to happen. The question now is restricted, you did hit the nail right on the head there. Forgive the very bad one. It was not intentional, I promise. The citizens have to vote. The town council prepares, ask the General Assembly, can you authorize legislation so we can put it on the ballot? Well, that's certainly not going to directly impact Build Our Eye.
Right,
Then we draft the ballot questions and we put them on the ballot. That's not going to directly financially impact Build Our Eye.
Right.
The citizens choose. The citizens say, sure, we're passing 1, 2, 3 bond questions, build away. We stop there. It hasn't happened. It's hypothetical.
right, but the point of Mr. Nancy's participation is ultimately to benefit the organization he represents, because his organization is gonna benefit from the award of construction projects, it sounds like, right?
Not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily, thank you.
No,
No,
not
I mean, there's a
necessarily.
lot of steps that have to happen before any of those people who are members of Build Our Eye could be considered as the contractor, and that's a whole other separate.
Okay, so it's that, the causation between his action and,
There's no financial benefit to
Right.
Mr.
Right.
Mancini.
It seems to me, though, that that the significant intervening event is voter approval or rejection.
right,
I mean, so I think that that's a barrier towards any nexus whatsoever.
right, okay,
It's the will of the people. And I don't see where the gentleman in either capacity should be hampered in his ability to advocate what the council sees as a worthwhile consideration for the intervening event, the vote of the people.
right, I got it, I'm on the same page, okay, thank you.
On that point, I have a question about advocacy. So do you envision, I'm assuming advocacy would be on the part of Build Our Eye. Potentially, or are you thinking advocacy would be on the part, it's in this private capacity? What did you mean by that? Ms.
As
Renicius?
Gregory Mancini,
As, okay, not as, okay,
citizen.
not as a member of the town council, not as representative of the construction industry?
Well, thank you. Yep.
So, our community just had a similar situation, and now we may do it again. Build Rhode Island, first of all, is a trade association, sir. And it doesn't bid on anything. Could it eventually have a financial benefit from a construction project? Yes. But the bidders have to be the lowest qualified bidder. I think it's a class of people that are gonna bid on it. And if they do bid on it, the lowest qualified bidder, then there could be some sort of benefit to the trade association, not to me personally.
Right.
In terms of your question, Madam Chair, I don't think I would advocate or try to advocate as a public official. I think that's inappropriate. And what I mean by that is town letterhead or in some capacity saying town council president does this. But I do think that my personal opinion is I'm a private citizen. I can put a yard sign in front of my house. I can help people.
Yeah,
I can tell friends and neighbors to advocate for it. Lastly, as it relates to the Build Rhode Island advocacy, last election, Build Rhode Island did not advocate for passage of the bond in my community. There were about 9 communities that had a special election, and we advocated in 8 of those communities. We decided not to advocate in North Kingstown. And my analysis was more of a political analysis as opposed to a legal analysis. So we didn't do it. I don't plan on doing it. I don't know. I mean, Bill Rhode Island, to me, is not a public official.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's subject to the code of ethics. But I'm more than happy to do what you please, either submit a request or, make that concession. I just,
I
I
guess
don't,
my question is, if you say this wasn't North Kingstown.
Yep.
Say this was, Newport.
Yep.
And they're considering a bond issue.
Right.
And they're considering as the Build RI official who advocates for issues, I think on behalf of the unions, is that?
no, we advocate on behalf of the union construction industry, which, by the way, is contractors
Yeah.
and labor unions.
So would you envision, knowing this is about to happen, approaching the Newport Town Council, who would be responsible for drafting this language, to advocate for pro-union language in there?
So the federal law prohibits you from tilting the playing field in favor or against unions. So you're prohibited from doing that. Having said that, construction is really a different animal. And if I may just say a couple of comments, construction is the only industry where the contractor can affirmatively decide to be affiliated with the union. Every other industry, it's the will of the majority of the employees. So the contractor does that because of one reason only, it's in his best business interest. Likewise, public entities can have the same benefits as the private sector, meaning that if a private business thinks it's in his best interest to hire union companies, contractors, it has the right to do so. And same with the public. Now, Rhode Island is one of 3 states that requires any public entity to first undergo a separate independent analysis to determine whether or not it makes sense to hire all union contractors for their construction project. But so to answer your question is, so we have done that. We've gone to, I just said, went to 8 other municipalities. We advocated not so much on the drafting of language. Once a bond was drafted, we advocated for passage of that bond. That happens all across the United States,
Right. That's different than what I was thinking in
Okay.
terms of language around unions.
Yeah, I think the analysis stops at the fact that it's against federal law
Okay.
to tilt the playing field.
And basically, I was thinking, you clearly won't be advocating for yourself. You won't be coming on behalf of Build RI to the town council and advocating that you write something a certain way.
No, that was not even, that's the farthest thing from my mind. It really is.
Okay, any other questions? No?
I got one. Does your advocacy include going to the General Assembly to get the bill passed that would allow the bond issue?
So that's an excellent question. At my capacity, Bill Rhode, we have never done that, okay? My capacity as town council president, I think it's implicit in my responsibilities, and I have done that.
That's quite different, isn't it?
It is quite different, that's correct, and I don't know if that's right or wrong answer, but that's the truth.
It's perfectly good.
Yeah. that makes
I was
sense.
mostly more curious in a way because we've been talking advocacy with other town councils,
Yeah,
but you don't even get to the town council if the bill isn't
Right.
passed to create the authorization for the bond, right?
I mean, I will say that, if a municipality puts a piece of legislation in with a resolution, it is pro forma in the sense that it virtually automatically gets passed by the general assembly.
So then the issue becomes public election or public vote.
Correct.
Okay.
But I didn't know if that changed your analysis at all.
Is there a motion to accept the staff's recommendation? Moved by Commissioner Peterson, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Roll call vote, Commissioner Strauss.
Aye.
Commissioner Centarini,
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie,
Aye.
Commissioner Susie. Commissioner Peterson. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great, thank you.
Thank you. I do have a couple post kind of comments, if that's okay. I just want to thank Lynn. She did a fantastic job. Very, very thorough, very impressive. I also want to say that, I'm here in part because to protect my reputation and, local officials, are on the front lines of our democracy today, and we're getting brutally attacked.
Mhm.
And I think it's worth noting. And it's hurtful. I mean, I have received threats of violence. I have received, I've had people come to my house at 6 o'clock in the morning with bullhorn. But my reputation is, something that is really more dear to me than that. Lastly, I want to say that, I know it's your policy not to, disclose complaints that have been submitted that where there's no probable cause. And I respect that policy. However, you should know last campaign season in my community, people were touting a complaint against me as a viable option on social media, a complaint that was dismissed without probable cause. And I had asked this commission who submitted the complaint, because I know it was one of my political opponents, and the commission decided not to. And I would ask you to consider as a policy in the future, if someone discloses a complaint publicly, you should disclose who that person is. Because they're the ones who put it public. They were using it for their own political gain, and it was to my disadvantage, political disadvantage. So I had to be on the defensive about it. And I thought it was incredibly unfair because it insinuated that I was being on it.
Mm.
So,
Thank you. I apologize for not asking if you, generally I would ask someone at this moment whether you had anything to add.
I just added it.
So, no, I apologize for not making that space for you, but thank you for that, and we'll definitely discuss that. And thank you for your service, and I understand it is the Wild West out there right now. It's, thank God that people like you and others are stepping forward and continuing to be public servants in the face of, you know, nastiness that's in every aspect of whether it's public media or social media or anything else. So thank you.
Well, the feeling's likewise here. Thank you for your, I know it's a volunteer job for you all. I will tell you that it's not only a strain on the public servants, but it's also a strain on our families.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. I won't keep
Okay.
any more time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it on the sign-in. So the next advisory is James Richard. Great.
Good morning,
Good
Commissioner.
morning.
Mr. Richard, unfortunately cannot attend the meeting tonight. His work schedule didn't allow him to attend, but he has authorized me to present the draft in his absence. And that draft is on the top A. I don't know if I mentioned. Mr. Richard is a member of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Pasco Fire District. In his private capacity, he owns and operates Rhode Island Community Training Center. This is a private agency that specializes in providing emergency medical services and cardiopulmonary resuscitation training programs. One of the firefighters employed by the fire district has expressed interest in attending an advanced EMT cardiac training that is provided or offered by the Petitioners Training Center in January of 2024. The training center is one of a handful of providers who are licensed to provide that type of training. The firefighter is required to receive such training in order to be an EMT. The training is advertised on the training center's website, and the petitioner will not teach or lead the training. The firefighter is free to choose any of the training providers in the state. It depends on the availability and type of training that is provided by that training facility and the class schedule that best fits with that best suits the firefighter. The board pays the fees associated with the firefighter training, but the petitioner represented that he would not be participating in the board's discussion, decision-making relative to the payment of those fees. The petitioner did not advertise or offer the training to the firefighter. Quite the opposite, the firefighter had done his own research and had approached and requested whether or not he can attend that training in January. The board does not oversee the day-to-day duties of the firefighters.
And now the board only gets involved if the fire chief suspends or terminates the employment of a firefighter. Given the set of facts, the petitioner seeks guidance from the Ethics Commission regarding whether he can provide that training through his training center to the firefighter. Regulation 1.4.4 addresses transactions with subordinates and prohibits a public official from engaging in financial transaction with a subordinate over whom he exercises supervisory responsibility in his public capacity. A subordinate is defined by the code as an employee, contractor, consultant, or appointed official of the official's agency. However, Regulation 1.4.4 has exceptions. One exception is if that transaction is in the normal course of regular commercial business. And the other exception is if that transaction is initiated by the subordinate. Here, both of those exceptions apply. The petitioner owns and operates the private entity that offers the training in the normal course of business, and the firefighter had initiated the transaction. Accordingly, it is the opinion of the staff that the petitioner may, through his training center, provide that specific training to the firefighter. The petitioner is required, however, as he has anticipated, that he has to recuse from any board discussion, decision-making relative to the payment of the fees with regards to that training. I have to answer any questions you may have on this time.
Any questions? Is this the first time this has come up in this particular instance with this,
With this petitioner?
yeah,
So he's, I believe, he said that that's been the first time that the issue has come up. And somebody from the fire district has requested to take that class.
interesting.
So in this time that he's been doing this job, this is the first time anybody's decided to ask for him.
For training from his training center. I believe he's been involved with the training center for a while,
Yeah.
but I believe he was an employee.
Mhm.
Recently, I don't recall the date.
It says 2016, so he was there from 2008, I guess. But then he's become owner and operator since 2016. It's kind of interesting. And he's been in the fire district since 2017, so.
Those are gonna be dirty words around the fire district.
So just interesting, it hasn't come up before. Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the staff's recommendation? Is there a second? Second. Moved by Commissioner Jones, seconded by Commissioner Susie. Roll call vote, Commissioner Strauss,
Aye.
Commissioner Centerini,
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie,
Aye.
Commissioner Susie.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great, thank you.
Thank you. The next one is on the tab B.
I'm gonna recuse myself from this one.
And this draft advisory opinion was prepared for the Honorable Michael Chippendale. He's also unable to attend today's meeting. He had a prior engagement. And he has authorized me to proceed in his absence with the presentation of the draft. He is a member of the Rhode Island House of Representatives. He states that he's physically disabled with mobility issues and that he has been offered the gift of a used mobility scooter by a donor who happens to be his personal friend and also a disabled veteran. The petition explains that the donor has received a new mobility scooter from the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and has offered his old one, which is valued at approximately $2,000 as a gift to the petitioner for the petitioner's personal use. The petitioner states that the donor is the chairperson of the Rhode Island chapter of Disabled American Veterans, or DAV, which is a nonprofit organization, the goals of which I have described on page 1 of the draft. The petitioner represents that DAV does not lobby the General Assembly. Neither the donor nor DAV is registered as lobbyist before Rhode Island government body, any Rhode Island government body. The petition also represents that although the General Assembly at times reviews legislation impacting veterans. There is currently no such legislation pending before the General Assembly, nor is there any pending matter in which the donor or DAV has any financial interest. Given this set of facts, the petitioner asks whether he can accept the mobility scooter as a gift. Commission Regulation 1.4.2 is the code's gift regulation. It provides that the public official shall not accept or receive a gift with a fair market value or actual cost greater than $25 from an interested person. An interested person is defined by the code as a person or a representative of a person or a business that has a direct financial interest in a decision that the person subject to the code is authorized to make or participate in making as part of his public duties. Because the item offered to the petitioner is valued at an amount that it's greater than $25, the key issue here is whether the donor is an interested person. If the donor is an interested person, the petitioner is prohibited from accepting the gift. If the donor is not an interested person, the petitioner is free to choose whether to accept the gift or not. The Ethics Commission has in prior advisory opinions identified registered lobbyists, person with financial interest in pending litigations, and vendors and businesses doing business with public officials who possess decision-making authority over them as interested persons. I have put a few advisory opinions on page 2 of the draft. Here, neither the donor nor the nonprofit organization of which the donor is the chairperson lobbies the General Assembly, and neither has a direct financial impact in the decision that the petitioner is currently making in his public capacity. And absent some indication that the House of Representatives would be taking official action on a matter in which those DAV or the donor have financial interest, it is the opinion of the staff that the petitioner is not accepting the gift as the donor is not considered an interested person under the code. Thank you. I've answered any questions.
Any questions? No. Okay, is there a motion to approve the staff's recommendation?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Ritchie, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Roll call vote, Commissioner Strauss.
Aye.
Commissioner Centarini.
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie.
Aye.
Commissioner Susie.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones. And the chair votes aye. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, can you grab, get yourself, thank you, please. Thank you for that reminder. Okay, the next item is a motion to go into executive session to wit, we will take a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session held on November 14, 2023, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A, 2, and 4. We will take up In re Leslie Brunel, complaint number 2023-11, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A, 2, and 4, and take up In re Michael Calasante, complaint number 2023-12, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A, 2, and 4, and then we'll return to open session. Is there a motion? So, is there a second? Okay, roll call vote, Commissioner Strauss.
Aye.
Commissioner Centarini.
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie.
Aye.
Commissioner Susie.
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great. It was quite clear the.